I definitely feel like we're a higher tier team, I guess, than Complexity, so I'm not too worried.
Loud Morris is a beast, and so is Trooper. Even though Trooper seems like that happy-go-lucky guy giggling everywhere, he's a scary guy in game.
We can't underestimate them, not one bit. They've shown that they will just absolutely demolish us.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Vulcan to face off against Complexity, and I'm joined here by the lovely Kobe24. Now, last time these guys met, Complexity fell victim just a week ago on Thursday, where they were shut out. But both these teams are winless today, so it's a chance for one of these guys to put a win in there.
Yeah, that week 3, that was almost a perfect game for Vulcan. They didn't lose any towers, they didn't lose any dragons, they didn't even die in that game. The only way it could have gone better is if they protected every single minion and lost no CS.
And, of course, we had kind of a rough start for both these teams. Like I said, they went 0-2. I mean, Complexity, you know, the losses were against Curse and TSM. It's not like they're losing to bad teams. By I mean, no teams here are bad, but, like, no one's going to give you crap for losing to TSM and Curse here. So, rough road so far, but certainly it's been rough against stiff competition.
Yeah, and they looked pretty strong doing it. Nobody's slouching, like you said. They've all been putting in their work, doing research, and I'm excited to see how they research against Vulcan, because at the time of doing all their research, Vulcan were amped up. They just come off 3 wins, and so Complexity probably put a lot of thought into it, thinking that they were going to be the ones to end the streak.
Well, I mean, you heard Muffin Cutie say that, like, they're like the higher tier team, that, like, they're the favorite here. You know, 3-5, you know, or 3-7 now, I suppose, is you know, still a better record than what Complexity's got running for them. But yeah, they've definitely got to turn around that shutout. Like, that's just a harsh place to be.
Yeah.
All right, so of course we're going to get in Champions League very, very soon. Let's check out the rosters first, though. On the blue side, it is Vulcan, Psycho Sid in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, Mandatory Cloud at mid, and Zuna and Muffin Cutie on AD and support.
And in the red corner, it's Complexity. Nick Wu up top, Loud Mortis in the jungle, Trooper middle, Brunch U on AD, MIA supporting him.
All right, we're going to see what these guys have in store. We've talked about it a couple of times, but I think it's really a research game here. You said, or sorry, Kiwi Kid said us just a second ago, Dignitas's win against Curse came down to champion select, where they thought long and hard what kind of champions are important, what to remove, what to leave in. They had to adapt to the Tryndamere ban, and it was champion select that went so well for them. Well, we got champion select here for ourselves. Let's see what's on the table.
Yeah, like I said, these two teams know each other pretty well. They were both one of those you know, lower tier teams, and they practiced with each other a lot to be able to contest with the top 4. It's just that Vulcan, they feel a little confident. They feel like they are a higher tier team for some reason. Muffin QT getting a little overconfident after that 3-0 streak maybe, so Complexity looking to answer back.
Well, of course, you're seeing a whole heck of a lot of target bans. Zed against Nick Wu, Vi against Loud Mortis. Meanwhile, Needly against ManCloud. That was a champion that led them to their win against CLG. The Singe dropped away from Psycho Sid. He's been picking that guy a whole heck of a lot. coL being banned out, interestingly, because normally we see coL go and banned against blue team, that first pick team normally, so it's a bit of a new one.
I'm not surprised to see that Zed ban. That's known as Nick Wu's basically best champion, and on the whole game, he's put so many games in on that champion that he just knows every single matchup. We saw him earlier just bullying the lane. Even though they lost the game, he did win his lane. So that's one of those things. If you were in solo queue at that time, you'd be like, come on, team, I won my lane. Where's my W?
And it's actually interesting. Actually, the Hecarim banned out as well against Smithy. We saw that banned all 3 games against him today. But I actually want to revisit the Zed a little bit, because Zed is actually like the #1 ban in top-ranked Korea solo queue. Exactly. We're like, Zed hasn't made it in North America yet, or even Europe very much. Over in Korea, he's like the giant terror that no one wants to leave in their games. He's basically a Mumu of Korea. But Twisted Fate, Instalock, first picked here for Vulcan.
Yeah, that Zed. There must be something tricky over there that people haven't discovered here quite yet. But like you said, that Hecarim ban, I have to say that's from doing their research after that 3-0 streak, not really taking into account what's happened today. But it's proven today that a lot of other teams have banned it again too, so they want to shut him down. The Tarek Jarvan, we've seen this so many times. The dual armor auras, very, very powerful, and we'll see if Vulcan actually pick a double AP comp into that, like so many teams have been doing when you show those double armor auras really early.
I mean, it's looking like Dignitas versus Curse all over again. I mean, their name even starts with C, and Vulcan even has a 1-letter acronym for one-letter initial for their tag. So I mean, there's so many similarities here. They are even going for Alistair. So I mean, I'm just saying it's history repeating itself. The double armor. I'm just saying.
Okay, this
I'm
is
just saying.
Guys, this is not making North America sheep comments look good here. EU is gonna have a field day with this one. They're like, we just watched this game. Why? They all changed names though.
They just logged. Actually, they didn't even move computers. They just logged into new accounts. All right, next 2 picks coming in. So that's going to be Needly and what was the AD carry? I forgot already. Twitch. Needly Twitch. I'm just saying. It's a
We
possibility.
can't have that because we have a Nidalee ban. By
Yes.
the way, I heard your guys' discussion on that. I'm just gonna stick with Nidalee because people gave me way too much flack for NASA, so I'll hold strong for the Nidalee supporters.
Okay. At least for Nasus, it's in Renekton's voiceover.
Yeah.
So you know it's like actually Nasus because Nasus cannot
Shen.
escape me.
I
Shen?
have to say, Shen is Nick Wu's backup ninja.
Backup. I like that.
He's really good with those 2 ninja champions, and he showed that was actually what he played in their game that they won the week before.
Yeah.
So he's actually really proficient on that, and it's a great champion to have just on your team at any time because that global presence late game is always a really useful tool if he's able to do well enough in his lane that he can solo people.
Yeah, we'll see what his heads up against. It's looking like Elise right now that we have seen her jungle. We saw Draven actually clicked by Chuper a minute ago, possibly the AD carry for Brunch U, but now it's Zuna looking at Draven. Thing is, every AD carry is up for him. I don't remember him ever being on Draven. Normally he is on those longer range carries.
Yeah.
We'll see what it ends up being. Of course, we still need a most likely jungler here for Vulcan. And they've got most of that lineup already revealed here against Complexity, so the only thing left is an AD carry.
If I was on Vulcan right now, I'd be telling him to grab Kog'Maw because that's when they've had all their best games is when Zuna was on Kog'Maw. But they seem to be channeling their inner Dignitas, and that is a cutie pie pick if he did pick Draven. Okay, so they switch over to Kog'Maw. Good job.
Right, he hovered on Draven for 45 seconds and then was like, and Kog'Maw lock in. But they have grabbed their jungler here. Xin Zhao picked up, so eerily similar. Double AP, Kog'Maw AD carry, trying to really get around that gigantic set of armor auras from Jarvan and Taric.
And they did a really good job. Kog'Maw especially, he does a lot of magic damage when you activate that W. It's percentage based, but it's going to be a very well spread out damage team from Vulcan right here. So they didn't really fall into that trap. I'm glad that these younger teams have been putting a lot more consideration into the pick ban phase because week 3 was kind of disastrous for them in that area.
Yeah, and of course we're seeing the final pick come through now for Complexity. They've been hovering over Draven.
Everybody wants to hover on Draven, even if you don't grab him.
He's got such a lovable grin. I mean, look at that smile. He is happy. Ezreal also, well, he's got like a kind of a grimace on his face. Not as happy as Draven, but when you're not Draven, you're going to be as happy as Draven.
He's got the golden locks flowing. They do pick him up, so it's going to be Ezreal and Taric. Quite a fabulous bottom lane there.
Yes.
And that's pretty good for getting away from those Alistar combos. We saw Patoy. He hits every single combo. Muffin Cutie's missed a couple, and people have been giving him a little flack, but he's a little more rusty. Patoy's been playing Alistar for the last, what is it?
We'll say 7 years.
There we go.
We'll just say
7
it.
years.
It's not even true. The game's not even that old. Don't worry about it. 7 years. Meanwhile, okay, you can see the lineups here. Elise, Xin Zhao, Twisted Fate, Kog'Maw, and Alistar against Shen, Jarvan, Diana, Ezreal, and Taric. What are these looking like for you?
I really like anytime you have an Alistar in lane, even against a Taric lane. We saw before, whenever that Alistar wanted an engage, they could do it. And especially when you have a mid lane TF, that gank can come really soon. The first second that TF hits level 6, it's just so much pressure instantly on the entire map, and you have to keep track of him. I always say that when you're going against a TF, you have to ward in the lane, mid lane. If you just use one ward at least, then you can see which side he goes to and tip off your team. So that really helps with these coordinated teams. Also in solo queue, it's a pretty big deal as well.
Okay, we'll see what that kind of ends up happening for him. Messiah, the famed mid lane player from Team WE over in China, released kind of a guide on Twisted Fate and said the first 2 destinies are the most important moments in the game for Twisted Fate. What you do at level 6 and level 7 or 8 when it comes back from cooldown, that is where the most impact comes in. We'll see if he can accentuate those side lanes. Both these teams looking for their first win of the day. We're into the game.
I mean, it's going to be kind of offset by Shen, but Shen's ultimate is a bit longer, and Twisted Fate will be able to get off more ganks in that amount of time. So I think it's really up to the junglers. Whenever I'm jungling and I'm against someone with a big global presence like that, I always take my pressure to the person with the global presence. So if you're against Twisted Fate, you go at Twisted Fate, you gank his lane instead of ganking a different lane, because if you gank a different lane, he'll show up and change the numbers, but if you gank him, nobody's going to be joining him.
Yeah, and of course, that's going to be an interesting situation because Jarvan is a great long-range ganker. You can always have Nick Wu show up as well.
A little truce there between Smithy and MIA right there. They don't decide to trade any blows. They just know that each other are there, and they let him get the ward off.
Yeah, a couple of defensive wards there. Muffin Cutie watching his own Lizard buff. A little bit scared on the opener there. Of course, they warded down on the river as well. And an early pink ward, sorry, an aggressive ward, I should say. But an early pink ward here by Complexity, putting a little bit more control over their own Wraith. The thing is, I don't think they know that Muffin Cutie also warded the Lizard, unless they counted the wards on the way out. So there's a bit of vision there that maybe they're not aware of just yet.
Yeah, they did sneak that one in there, and that is actually going to be a huge tip-off because Loud Immortus likes to make his ganks happen early and often. As soon as he picks up that red buff, they'll know which way he's going, and so they can alert either top or bottom lane.
And again, we saw
middle.
Yeah, of course. And of course, another vision ward coming in from Vulcan, keeping their own jungle rather safe. We saw that really in Dignitas versus Curse as well. Just so many vision wards being thrown out there to keep the lane safe. Complexity starting off on the Wolves, so Loud Immortus.
A late blue invade maybe here from Vulcan?
Oh, yeah, they are grouped up. I mean, it's going to be, what, like a 2-on-3 right here. Vulcan moving their way forward, Muffin Cutie in the front, Smithy right behind. There's initiation that has been started. What are they going to go for? There is the ward. They get the pulverize up into the air. Look at the damage on a Loud Immortus. He's normally targeted out by most of these teams. Now they find Nick Wu. Damage onto him. He's not really going to go down. There's no crowd control. Chuper waiting around, but there's the ward actually. Who's going to get the smite? And it's going to go to Smithy on a basic attack. A great pickup there. Loud Immortus burned his smite on it. He smote too early.
You could definitely see the smite come out really early. The little steam particles that kind of come off Loud Immortus. And Smithy didn't even have to use his, like he just said. He wasn't expecting a smite that early and just grabs it with an auto attack. So he'll be able to pick up his red really quickly. It's basically like they gave Smithy a smiteless leash.
Yeah, and we saw the same thing in GGU versus TSM, where the exact same mistake where Nintendude smote just a second early in the basic attack from Odd1, picked that one up, and then he had to go and run to his Lizard buff and kill it without smite. Whereas Xmithie has pretty much everything.
Yeah, so that's a big hindrance on Loud Immortus' jungle, so they're going to send Taric over there to help him with his red buff, since not only did he was he denied of the experience from his blue buff, but he doesn't have smite to take down this red either, and that leaves Ezreal up there to solo this Psycho Sid.
Yeah, and of course you're seeing kind of the repercussions of these lane swaps. Look how much damage Nick Wu has taken. Level 1, not much health left, down to 2 potions. Started with about 6 or so, and is already kind of dripping with damage. Smithy grabbing his own blue buff, but he's just completely saved. Early lane's really going in Vulcan's favor.
Yeah, we talked about it so much, how the beginning games were all about early pushing on these 2-versus-1 lanes, and since Taric had to go help Loud Immortus with that red, it took a lot of pressure off of that top turret, and this bottom one is going to be falling a lot earlier, it looks like.
Yeah, it's down to 2/3 right now, and Vulcan are really showing no signs of taking damage. Those normal 3-on-1 tower dives we see most often, not even happening here because of how slow Loud Immortus' jungle was. And Xmithie now even just counter-jungling in the face of a ward even, just stealing away those Wraiths. Chuper taking a bunch of pain, Mancloud putting out so much damage onto him.
And I really like Elise as a 2-versus-1 laner. Oh,
Oh,
Smithy
the
does
stun is
get
there.
it.
Knock up. Is it going to be enough? The Moonfall? Yes. First Blood Lizard buff. Xmithie finds that one and just survives in the face of minions.
He was walking pretty slow out of that tower range, but not one more shot, and he'll be fine. A clean first blood. They also got his flash without Minotaur Cloud having to use his flash, so that is a huge advantage for this mid lane. TF is amazing at setting up ganks. If he just pulls a gold card, flashes in anytime he wants onto Chuper, then that could be another repeat gank for Smithy.
And that's going to be a scary situation to be in when you are Chuper, because, yeah, dying early on. I mean, Diana, right, is so assassin. He kind of wants to start those fights. Zuna, we can see now in the bottom lane himself, is, again, kind of zoning out Nick Wu. Nick Wu only at 8 minions. Not a very large number for himself. Zuna, 29, doing much better. The turret, again, just taking pressure.
Yeah, so I talked about taking the pressure to the lane with the global movement spell, but Chuper was forced to take teleport to try and combat TF's early gank. Now that he's behind and he doesn't have flash, that's not really going to work because Mandatory Cloud can shove this lane over and over. And like I said, if Smithy comes by, he's always got that flash in his pocket as we have another 3-on-1 tower secure.
There we go. Tower is secured 5.5 minutes in. That clever ward there in the Tri-Brush spotted that gank out, knew it was coming. So Nick Wu is going to be safe here. But the early vision ward, we saw that a little while ago actually from Marn, actually, where they had the early vision ward and it started soloing Dragon. Smithy, though, he's losing this one-on-one. He needs some help.
Yeah,
he's going to get the help, but...
Losing the one-on-one with Dragon, he's not quite strong enough yet. He does get the help. They decide that Psycho Sid, because he got that free time, just 1v1 heads up with Ezreal, he's not under enough pressure for them to have to switch this early, and they take the Dragon, then can pull out the switch and just secure that global lead. Not only did they get the turret, but that's the extra 1,000 from Dragon as well.
And that's built themselves a 2,500 gold lead at only 6 minutes in. The Vulcan here in match number 10 of the day are doing just amazingly right here. Muffin said they were a higher tier team. They're certainly looking like it right now. Only one kill, but still, like, the moves they're making are looking top class right now.
Yeah, they're playing it perfectly. If you kind of follow it back like a row of dominoes, it all stems from Loudamortis missing that smite on his own blue buff, getting behind, forcing Tarek to come. As we hear, Tarek gets engaged on a little bit.
TF Ult comes through. They line the perfect stun on the Brunch Shoe. Headbutt, pulverized, gold card on a MIA. Here comes Loudamortis. Here comes Chuper as well. A brawl underneath the turret. They've picked up the kill on the MIA. Zuna not in a good place. Can Loudamortis find something? He's into the brush. He's trying to hide himself away. There comes the ult from Shen. Brunch Shoe finds Zuna. Brunch Shoe finds a lot of pain onto himself. Psycho Sid lands a stun, but not enough damage. He's still alive. Chuper getting a lot. Zuna finds one back on a Loudamortis. Nick Wu still in the middle. Finds Buff and Cutie. Nick Wu trying to run away. Low on health. He flashes, but here comes Xmithy. He finds one. It's now Nick Wu taking damage. ManCloud finds that one for himself. Xmithy, though, still in the mix, trying to knock Chuper into the air. Not going to get much out of that one. Wow, a lot of kills happened there.
I guess we can call that a 5-on-5 fight because everyone used globals to get up there, and they all ended up brawling up top, but that was just very hectic. They do get seen out. Nice little poke from Chuper there to stop the backs.
That was a 4 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, overall. So it was a +1 kill lead for Vulcan off of that battle. Everyone top lane at 7 minutes, though. That is a bit rare.
That is a bit rare. We have a teleport and a Shen ultimate on the same team. Those are global utility spells, but they're on such a long cooldown that TF is now going to have the advantage because his Destiny will come right back up and his next gank will be uncontested pretty much.
Yeah, he doesn't have much more to wait on that one. Only 60 seconds on Destiny. That'll be a fun one for him. Nick Wu on a much larger timer. Loudamortis, we'll see if he can get his own blue buff this time around. No one's around to steal it. You never know.
Yeah, he might miss smite that and somebody come into auto attack. That could be
at least
be
I
bad.
mean, he did it on purpose, though. Chuper grabbed that one on Diana.
Yeah,
so at least he meant to give it away this time.
So we keep a stat how many times Loud has hit his blue buff smite.
Aww.
I'm sorry, we're just being mean now.
I love you, Loudamortis. You're an amazing player. Please don't hit me.
That also, Shen was able to pick up a Giant's Belt off of that last fight, and he has skipped the boots. He doesn't really need the movement right now. There's not too much pressure from Psycho Sid, and we see Loudamortis down here camping with him. So he's got a red pot on Nick Wu, and they really want to bait this out, but the spider goes right into the bushes and seeks out Loud.
Yeah, so he's pretty safe right there. You can see actually just the amount of aggression from Vulcan. Twisted Fate had just put a ward down on that brush. Smithy said, you know what, I'm pretty safe, and we just saw Jarvan at the bottom lane, so he can't get up here in time. This is our Lizard buff. An unfortunate turn of events for Complexity, but a great adaptation by Vulcan. Oh, he's down. Let's grab something else.
Yeah, they're continuing to put pressure on Loudamortis jungle, and look at that. Mandatory Cloud goes all the way up to this top bush because they know that Jarvan was in the bottom. There's nothing really here for Loudamortis to answer with except some raise, and they're going to gank top.
And there we go. The pressure on the Brunch Shoe. No summon is up for him. Easy kill pickup. Smithy says thank you very much on a killing spree himself. 30 minions, 3-0-2, and pressure on the turret.
Yep, there's that Destiny cooldown taking effect right there. Twisted Fate gets to come in. Nobody else gets to join the party from Complexity.
Man, I mean, they bought party hats. They've got party favors. They've got, you know, the things that you blow and it makes that noise that like unfurls. But unfortunately,
they partied too hard that first fight. They're all hungover. Couldn't join this one, but they're able to shove down this middle turret.
That's actually a really good counterattack by them. So you can see them move on in. The second, wow, just more turret pressure. The Vulcan really looking for more buildings to destroy.
Yep, it's pretty much been a story of demolition crews in this Super Wednesday. Everybody's kind of focusing on the PvE game and grabbing objectives over getting repeat kills.
ManCloud right across the wall here actually does spot Complexity. Look at the burst damage. MIA is not in a good place. Look at the burst. Oh, Xmithy finds one. Zuna's going to find his demise, though. Can he find Loudamortis? He's chasing him down in Kog'Maw for him. No, the flash from Loudamortis keeps him safe. Xmithy trying to find Chuper. Does he have enough pressure, though? He has Lizard buff. One more strike, he'll pick that one up. Brunchu finding damage, has to eat out. He is afraid here. ManCloud shows up. What will his damage be? Actually pops a bit of damage there. Nick Wu's going to fall to Psycho Sid, though. Great pick up there by Elise, and that makes it a 3-for-1.
Yeah, and that top fight up there, I'm going to have to say that was our chooper blooper of this game because he did not have to keep going. He dove in solely onto Mandatory Cloud, got damaged by 3 people, and they had to actually retreat after that. Little bit of a misstep.
And Psycho Sid is a player that Vulcan had said was always consistent, where Xmithy said, I never have to go to his lane. He will always win or go equal against every opponent. And thinking back to Psycho Sid's play, I've never seen him lose lane.
I've been really impressed, especially with his Elise play. You know, last week I got extremely excited about that team fight they had bottom, but he just always seems to land these cocoons at the crucial moment, catching people out and setting up the rest of his team to capitalize on it.
And it's just a beautiful thing when, and this is kind of something we talked about with Vulcan before. You mentioned the tri-lane in their match against CLG, where they just let Xmithy go to one lane over and over and over again. Psycho Sid is always able to go equal, and it just relieves so much pressure from them that they can only focus 2 lanes and get ManCloud and Zuna ahead. Now they're going for a little bit of a bait on this dragon. Thing is, they've got the wards cleared out. They're just waiting around for it. Thing is, I think they're spotted by that pink ward. Lattimorta's going to face check into a ward. Look at the damage out, but he's going to get dropped immediately. Zuna picks that one up. They're not going to keep going. It's a free dragon.
Gets killed at the middle of his flag toss. So sad. You can see him reaching out towards his own fountain. Can't get back to the base. That's going to mean a free dragon. Not even a chance to steal a smite because the jungler is dead.
Well, he'll get back to the base in about 10 seconds when he respawns.
There you go.
It's actually a bit of a shorter trip that way. If you let him kill you, you can get back to base sooner.
All planned. We do have the teleport to go shove this top turret, though. I like that call to answer back for the dragon. They get a little bit of global gold.
That is something that Complexity has done very, very well so far, of course, as well. Is like we saw them answer turrets over and over. Now, Mandatory Cloud, though, he's looking for pressure here. He's got 2 guys in his face, but the rest of Vulcan now in the mid lane, they're funding a turret, and no one's really here to stop them. Actually, okay, they will go stop. They take it back.
Muffin taking a lot of harass there just from Brunch. Zuna as well, taking a mystic shot in the back. And Lattimorta's probably should stop chasing.
He has. He's you know, getting his health back up, checking potions to keep himself alive. Chuper regrouped in the mid lane. Complexity have tied up the turret score 2-2, despite being down 6 kills. As far as structures on the map, they have kept it tied.
The story here is Smithy getting so far ahead with all these killing blows that he got a very early locket, and that's a team-oriented item. So when they do have these 5-on-5 fights and everyone's joining with all their global ultimates, he can put that shield on all 5 members, and everyone really benefits from the extra gold that he's gotten from those kills.
All right, we can see him matching up against Lattimortis in the mid lane. They're actually looking for aggression right here, just kind of wave clearing back and forth. Mandatory Cloud's going to join up. There we go. The pressure onto Lattimortis. The gold card is going to land. Will they have enough damage to kill him before he can escape here? Shen ult goes off. That's going to force them to disengage, but that is a long cooldown forced away.
That is a huge tool that's down. That's a 200-second cooldown. Nick Wu down there shoving bottom is going to have to come back now because he does not have an escape of his own. He might even run into this 3-man blue stealing.
He did have to smite it away. Smithy was afraid of that Ezreal ult stealing it, well, stealing it, claiming it for the rightful team, and he grabs that one away with a smite. That is...
Can you steal what's already on your side of the map? I guess you can. Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to reclaim it.
That's true.
In the name of France or something. Here we go. A little bit of damage on a Brunchu. The card's coming out. Doing pretty nicely there. The rest of Vulcan, again, just looking for aggression. They are up 6 kills, but instead of like looking for champion kills, they're looking for objectives on the map. They're looking for things to claim and just take over and snowball themselves ahead. This time it is going to be a middle turret, but they've grabbed the Golem and Lizard buffs recently. Smithy in the front, taking a bit of punishment. There's the taunt. They go all in. The knock up into the air. Smithy going to knock them back as well. That'll be a safe disengage. No, he goes back in for Nick Wu. Gets found a little bit by Chuper, but he will live.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Smithy gets back in there to give him a stab of his own. Good answer, and they actually are going to keep sieging up this turret because it's really low.
It is. They're doing a lot of great damage to it. They've got a number of long-range champions. Here we go. The group is here. A little bit of punishment. They don't have Xmithy with them. He's back in the base, but
neither is Brunch.
Well, yeah, it's fair, actually. Brunch is up at the top lane. This turret, there we go. Zuna has picked it up. 3-2 in turrets, 6,000 gold lead.
They just decided to give up that turret. Brunch just went up to farm that top lane. They didn't want to even contest that one, so I don't know why all 4 members were standing around it.
They're trying. Well, Mandatory Cloud, of course, on the blue buff himself. the jungle is like totally Vulcan. This is like they are in complete control of these neutral monsters. They just stole the blue away. They've gotten their own. They've gotten their own red. We saw earlier the red steal from Smithy. I think it's coming up soon, unless I missed the respawn a little while ago. And I mean, they are just completely strangling this map right now.
Yeah, Mandatory Cloud also has a fully stacked Seeker's Arm Guard. I like that he is going with that build too, because we've seen, it's been telling of the TFs that were successful are usually the ones who rush the Zanya's Hourglass or get it second. So he's got the Sheen, that's a not quite a Lich Bane, but that's good enough. You get plenty of tower damage with that, and then you get the defensive stats of that Zanya's Hourglass, just opening up so many more plays.
It's a really, really great build from him, and now we're seeing Vulcan just still on the aggression with only 2 guys up here. They're still looking for fights way on the enemy side of the map. Like I said, but a bit up more than he can chew. He's in a spider form. Here comes the knockup. So much damage coming out. The ult as well. And here we go. The teleport. Is it going to come in from Mandatory Cloud? It's not. Oh, Psycho Sid with a great flash, but it's not going to be enough for him. He's going to fall on down. Destiny has ended and no teleport came in, but they did dive a turret in the mid lane. Zuna and ManCloud find that one. Actually, that might be where he teleported, actually. But is Loud Mortis now in the mix of things. He's taking damage from Muffin Cutie. Trying to find that one back. Stun from MIA. Ult popped by Muffin Cutie. A little bit of damage into him, but that ult going to make him too tanky for anything back here. Is Luke Smithy going to look for Loud Mortis? He is still chasing into the brush. Looking for a bit of punishment. He is still going in for the knockup. Is he going to find anything?
5 seconds on Shen's ultimate right now. If they do want to chase, they could come in with another member. They don't want to.
No, it looks like it's not going to be the case here. So enough ability power now in Mandatory Cloud that he is one-shotting the caster minions with Wildcard. A nice breakpoint on the wave clear for him. Smithy with ward coverage. Really on both sides, though, ward coverage over the Lizard buff. And here comes the teleport in. It's going to be Chuper looking for something. Can they find it? Nick Wu is right there. Is the taunt up? He's just not going to go for it, of course. His tanky member's right there. He's afraid of them.
Good flash right there from Smithy getting out of the way of Nick's taunt.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Yeah, he burned that flash very quickly. It would have been a hit taunt, and that would have been a catch. I'm not sure if they would have been able to clean that up, but they definitely had the numbers because Zuna's bottom. So good job by him, and now they're actually going to turn this around, shove middle with only 3 people.
It's kind of been the story of that team is they never actually quite push with 5, but they push with, you know, a low-digit number you can count on one hand, and as though any team of League of Legends could, whatever. If Mordekaiser, you can push with 6.
There you go.
They did not have Mordekaiser, only a 5 or less man push.
I knew there was a save there somewhere.
I got it, guys. Don't worry. I'm never wrong about anything. Anyway, Complexity trying to keep their turret alive up in this mid lane. Doing a pretty good job of it so far. Chuper farming up. Getting himself some gold. But the thing is, he's down 90 to 123 in minions. Having QD forced to run away, but Zuna is around. There's a bit of damage in this team available.
Yeah, Nick Wu's getting some free damage on Smithy here. They do decide to fight.
Yeah, they go in on MIA. There's the Destiny being brought in. Mandatory Cloud just kind of revealing with that one. Lattimore is so dangerously low, but they're not quite going to find that kill. Zuna gets opened in upon. Exhaust, he cleanses both summoner spells off on him. And there we go. MIA still dropped low. Smithy dropped low. Ult from Zuna almost finds it. Shut down there from Shen, but they've traded back on the Diana. Ezra ult Brunchy was perfectly safe, and he finds Zuna. He's going to push it on Muffin Cutie. Muffin Cutie flashing away with red buff on him. Brunchy finds it. That's a good equalize right there. Only 1 down. They picked up 3 kills. Brunchy with a double kill, and now they go for the dragon.
Vulcan almost won that fight with only 4 members, but they weren't able to finish off Loud Mortis, and they weren't able to finish off that Taric. MIA also surviving. Loud Mortis flashed the Acathian surprise there also by Zuna, so he still was able to add to that team fight even though he had gotten chunked out so low at the beginning. And you can see the difference right there. Smithy has a full Giant's belt over Loud Mortis. They basically had the same build right there for that fight, except for a huge HP bonus from that Giant's belt. Now he's even picking up an Oracle's Elixir for himself.
Yeah, but those power and numbers, you just saw what it meant for that fight. You know, you mentioned it was a 4-on-5, and it's a little worrisome for Vulcan. I mean, I say it's worrisome that they can't win a 4-on-5, but like if they make those moves over and over, I mean, Complexity is a team that can catch people. They've got Teleport, they've got a Shen, and Brunch Yu. He's always been putting up good numbers for that team so far. He's 5-2-3 with the most minion kills in the game.
That was definitely a small throw right there. Complexity will take anything they can get at this point. It was a huge step in the comeback because they also were able to get that dragon off of this. Now the only place to clear out for Smithy with this Oracles would be the Baron, but it's a bit too early for them to start it. They do have very good percentage damage with Elise though, which means they always have the threat of that. If they're able to grab a kill or something on the map, they could retreat over there.
And actually, I want to point out that Zuna grabbed up distortion boots really fast on Kog'Maw. I'm guessing to be able to, I mean, obviously to get the flash cooldown up faster, pretty much so that he can get away from Loud Mortis a little bit more. Zuna grabbing his Lizard buff for now the second time in a row. Smithy really playing aggressively, going to clear out this ward in the brush. Yeah, map control is just Vulcan's game right now, really trying to wrest control of vision.
Yeah, he wants just a little bit more mobility. Having Alistar on your team is great. He's a perfect bodyguard. You've got 2 answers for divers, but Diana just does so well sucking everyone in there, and if you get caught with that plus a Shen on her plus the Jarvan Cataclysm, he definitely needs to be able to flash over those Cataclysm walls when he does get caught.
All right, we'll see. That ends up being the case here. The flash is back up. The cooldown, of course, much lower thanks to the distortion rune picked up there. Vulcan, they are going to start up on Baron, or not. I mean, they started and they run away immediately. It's kind of a false start.
Yeah,
got to start the heat again.
It does a lot of damage compared to how strong the champions are right now, because it's still fairly early in the game. But we do have the Zhonya's Hourglass completed by Mandatory Cloud, and he could start making some interesting plays here, like we've seen Jackie display earlier in the day with those canceling his ultimate or even ultimating in, then using it. Here we go.
Oh, beam me up, Scotty. Teleport coming in. They're going to find one right there. Loud Mortis and MIA taking a bit of punishment, but ManCloud totally alone right there.
He didn't have to pop it though. He still has the active ready.
What? No, the what? Which one?
Mandatory Cloud.
His ult?
His Zhonya's.
Oh yeah. He was safe otherwise from the Zhonya's. Ward control, of course, still here for Vulcan front. You trying to poke in blind into the darkness, not landing quite a whole lot. Flag comes down from Loud Mortis, gives a little bit of vision. You can see they've got not too much vision for themselves. Smithy just walking around a little bit.
Now the global advantage is actually in Complexity's hand for one point in the game. I mean, Nick Wu's fine to split push right now. He's got his ultimate up. Chuper also has teleport, so they can move around, and they need to start getting some objectives because there's no other way to claw back this gold lead unless Vulcan are going to make some weird tower dive and just make a huge mistake that would be.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the 4v5 Dragon fight, certainly. You know, one thing we sort of talked about with I wouldn't say, I guess in this case it is kind of one of the newer teams in the LCS, that they just tend to not have that same late game power that other teams do. You saw how long CLG held on against Marn, and I think this has got to be a possible situation here. You know, we'll see what ends up happening. Of course, Vulcan with an early lead, you're seeing 5,000 gold up. Game 10 of 12 on the day so far. Vulcan are looking to grab their 4th win of the season. If they can grab this one against Complexity, certainly in the lead.
Yeah, it seems like Vulcan are just waiting for that Dragon to come up as Mandatory Cloud is going to get soloed here.
Yeah, he puts on the barrier, trying to run away from Chuper. What's he going to go for? The wildcard's going off. He's trying to run flash in from Chuper. Oh, the Zhonya's keeps him alive, and here comes Smithy. Is it going to be enough damage? No, the Channel comes in. So much help from all sides. Another flash from ManCloud still keeps him alive, and they find Chuper. Nick Wu fails to flash over the wall, and the gold card locks him up. Ignite is enough at least, but it's a 2-for-1.
Oh, Mandatory Cloud with the jukes. At least they are able to get 2 kills for 1 out of that. Zhonya is so important as they go in on brunch as well.
Thankfully, he is Ezreal and just Arcane shifts away, but that is a great place to be in. If you are Vulcan, you've kind of pushed the team down. You're up 4-3 on the map right now, and you've got minions coming in to push down this turret.
So even though Ezreal's more fed and he has more kills than Kog'Maw, there's a big difference in power because Kog'Maw went with the Infinity Edge, whereas Ezreal just went with the Bloodthirster, and now they stunned up Smithy.
He's got a lot of damage onto him. He's popped all the shields on himself. There we go. A little bit of pain on all sides. Ladderboard is getting chunked down. Zuna picks that up despite the exhaust. Will they keep going on in? Chuper is in from the side. He finds Smithy. A lot of damage there. Brunch grabs the kill. There's a stun onto Zuna. He's forced to cleanse it away. Will the team keep chasing down? They've traded 1 for 1. Both junglers dead. Complexity not going to keep chasing.
Loud Mortis is a poor man. He's been starved all game, still hasn't been able to pick up a big health boost. As I was saying before, it used to be the difference of a Giant's belt between him and Jin Zhao. Now it's a full Warmog's difference.
That is pretty brutal. He's at 5,200 gold, poorer than any other member on Vulcan, nearly tied with his support there, MIA. Certainly, I mean, Loud Mortis has a ton of assists, but he is a very poor guy.
When you're a melee champion, you really, you basically, okay, so it's the definition of a melee champion. You have to get in their melee range. And if you don't, there you go. If you don't have any health, it makes it very difficult. He's just done a decent job of actually baiting around and using his flash and his gap closers. But at some point, you're going to have to build that. He needs to get the gold there. He's actually used some of it to get the beginnings of an Aegis of the Legion. And Mandatory Cloud caught again.
Oh, so much damage onto him, but he gets the stun back, and Muffin Cutie shows up as the bodyguard. Does keep his teammate alive, and actually they layered the stuns there. The Shadow Dash landed at the same time as the Dazzle from Tarek, so they kind of layered that a little bit too much. Vulcan regrouping in mid lane. Of course, ManCloud, yeah, he's a little bit hurt in health, and he went back to the base to heal, but generally speaking, Vulcan are in a pretty good spot.
And those glowing purple spheres on Mandatory Cloud's hands means that he's completed his Lich Bane, and he will be able to destroy towers at will.
But did he buy 2?
Yeah, that's been a folly a lot here. As they go into Latomortis again.
Beautiful initiation. He has dropped down immediately. No ult able to be used by him. The push still in. A nice pull by Chuper. Can they get any damage? A nice taunt. Dragon actually goes down. Everyone is low on health. MAA tanked that up completely and is now low, but getting out. Xmithy taking punishment. There's a kill picked up for Chuper. Where are they going to go for next? It's Zuna and ManCloud. Low on health. Psycho Sid barely clawing his way out as well. There's another fight going just +1 here for Complexity.
Yeah, so they actually lost that team fight out because Zuna decided to stay and fight and finish off the dragon.
Yeah.
He wasn't shooting any members of Complexity, and the damage discrepancy right there just cost them an extra kill.
That is an interesting thing to choose because you consider Dragon worth 2 champion kills in terms of gold, but like the map presence right here, you're seeing Complexity with control. Oh, it forces the flash away from Zuna. Chuper, who's he gonna go? And he is! He pulls in, gets the Shen ult as well. One more ult, he's gonna find that. Now with ManCloud with a beautiful Zonia's Hourglass, will he stay alive? And he gets pushed out of the base, Nick Woo. So they actually trade 1 for 1 though as Kog'Maw picks it up, and now Psycho Sid is looking for something. A giant heal on a Brunch U. He's a little bit overextended now. He's not like in his fate either. Flashes away. What are they gonna find? Damage on a Brunch U. He's been slowed down. Will they find anything else? Muffin Cutie leading the charge. Psycho Sid nearby as well. Are they going to find anything? Latomortis says, hey, get away from my homies. And they say, okay.
I like that chase from Sid. That would have been a good chase, but Muffin was going the opposite way around the trees, and so he wasn't there to back up the spider. They didn't have the 2 versus 3 that could have turned it in their favor, and Psycho has to back off. They aren't able to follow that up with any extra kills.
Man, and this game is like neck and neck. Like you can see a kill lead, you see a gold lead, you see, like by all the metrics at the top of the screen, you think Vulcan's winning by a lot. But as far as the gameplay is considered, it just feels so close. These guys are trading fights back and forth. The battles, it's just an absolute bloodbath, slaughterfest. Like one of the matches, I don't remember the game unfortunately, one of the games we saw last week where it was actually involved Complexity, I think versus GGU, where it was just kill after kill after kill after kill, trading fights back and forth, and it feels like that again.
It does feel like that, but some huge items being completed now for Vulcan means that for the next team fight, Psycho's going to have that Liandry's and Riley's Crystal Scepter combo, which is so potent on mages. He's going to have a lot more damage to bring down those high HP targets like Nick Woo, who have been stacking just health, and he can bring them down for the beginning of the fight, just get them kind of low, and everybody do a lot more current health percentage damage.
That's going to be an interesting thing here. Of course, his health is being bought up a fair bit. Trinity Force has been completed for Brunch U, so by at least my metrics, he is significantly far ahead of everyone else in this game. But Vulcan are looking for a push despite the ominous item buy. We'll see what ends up happening here. They've got 5 members in that mid lane. We've seen them group up so much in this game, and there's the pressure on the turret. We've got to be a little bit afraid of Latomortis. He could always flag, Q himself back into that fight. We have not take. Oh wow, the damage on the MAA, and Latomortis is going to go, and he immediately ults up onto Zuna. A lot of damage up on this mix. Everyone is on top of each other, but Latomortis just keeps dying first in these fights over and over. Mandatory Cloud push back. Zuna is safe. Who is he going to find to push next? His W is down for the next few seconds, but they've now got just rain over this turret. Yes, that's going to be there. Psycho Sid taking some turret aggro, but he's going to be fine. Vulcan wins that one.
So Zuna's flash was down for that, and Latomortis went in. He had Shen to back him up, so they had 2 diving, but Diana was not able to complete that dive onto Zuna. He didn't even take very much damage inside of that Cataclysm. He was fine.
Oh my gosh, he's actually going to go back in on a Trooper, though, the flash from Xmithy, but a disengage. No, Muffin Cutie's going to go in. They just keep going in and out, back and forth, 5v4 in this fight. Nick Wu tries to find something, a great Void who stops that one, though. MIA not going to find a stun. They're going to be stopped again.
Yeah, great defensive use with that Void Ooze. And we do have the combination Infinity Edge plus Phantom Dancer, just allowing Kog'Maw to do so much damage from the back. Now his flash is back up because of the distortion boots, and the next fight will be even easier for them. Complexity really has to coordinate their dive, because if they can take out that Kog'Maw, it will be a huge boon to their team fight, but they have to have all three members. We just saw that Jarvan and Shen can't do it alone.
No, not at all, really. Now, finally, Shen's ult is back up. That will help that dive a little bit. Loud Mortis, you just keep seeing him take damage over and over. Like, he's trying to get resists and stack the shields on top of him. Not working just yet. You're seeing actually a lot of deaths on those frontline champions. 5 onto Loud Mortis, 6 onto Chuper. And the thing is, normally you consider like guys with a lot of deaths to be not worth much gold, but assists kind of bring you back up close to worth 300. So even though they're on death streaks, they're actually still giving a lot of gold back out to the team. Complexity grabbing a blue buff for themselves. Chuper finally actually able to control his jungle. Loud Mortis actually has really gotten control back.
Yeah, the best case scenario here would be a Loud Mortis initiate with the Shen ultimate on top of him for the beginning, because he's got decent resistances right now. He just doesn't have health to back that up. So if he has that extra shield from Shen, it's kind of going to replace the need for the health building.
All right, we can see now Vulcan grouping up around the Baron pit right here. They sweep that ward out. 27 gold up on a Muffin Cutie for last hitting that ward. All 5 of them are right here. Thing is, Complexity knows they are around, but with no ward. Oh, no, now they spot Vulcan. They know it's a bait. There's nothing being grabbed here. Muffin Cutie's not going to sweep that one out, but they're going to run back up there. Niku has ult, is split pushing bottom. That's what they're going to go for. They start up on Baron.
Nick, we're doing a good job. That's exactly what you need to with Shen. The vision from Flag Toss is going to let them know that they have to join this soon if they want to contest.
Another ward goes down. They put a little bit of damage in from Chuper. A nice Void Ooze comes out. They're actually going to disengage pretty much here. They're kind of mixing and matching a little bit. A turret goes down. They go back in towards Baron. They're just kind of splitting their engagement again. Chuper going down to half health. Who's going to go in for the fight? They go back in for Baron. The smite's going to go for the blue team. Vulcan picks it up. Where's the damage up? It's on Azuna. Zuna's so low on health. Nick Woo's going to find him. That's a kill picked up. But are their health bars too low? Loud Mortis up in the fray. Psycho Sid low. Psycho Sid flashes out successfully. MIA and Chuper still here. They've traded 1 for 1 so far. Xmithy taking damage. A beautiful taunt lands on a 2. They find Man Cloud. They're going to trade 1 back, but now they find Xmithy, and it's 3 for 2 in that fight, despite the Baron pickup.
Wow. So they get the Shen ultimate, but they lose 3 members that had Baron. They're probably going to lose this middle turret as well. It's a fairly even trade here, depending on how much damage they can get on this inhibitor turret. Psycho Sid with Baron buff should be able to defend it pretty well, though.
Yeah, he's definitely a tanky man right here and kind of blocking things out. Look at the damage, though. The turret is dropping so fast, and the Sun on the Brunch, he has to cleanse it away. He eased back. He's going to be alive. And
oh, I wish you would have followed that up. Sid, he has no mana. You should just destroy that Ezreal, please.
wow, you don't like Ezreal very much, do you? Destroy the Ezreal!
Destroy the Ezreal. He's out of mana. And we had the Diana down bottom. She could not lend any help. But he pulls back, plays it a little safe. They don't want to give up anything here.
And speaking of giving things up, I mean, Complexity, they lost Baron, but they picked up 2.5 turrets, +1 kills, and a dragon.
Yeah.
Baron's nice, but that's way more than Baron.
Really, to make it worth it, Vulcan's going to have to make something happen with the 2 Baron buffs that they still have left. One of them really, really powerful on Psycho Sid. The one on Muffin QT will help a little bit, but mostly he's using his abilities for zoning and protecting that Kog'Maw, whose Flash and Cleanse are both down right now.
He's got to wait a little bit of time for those to come back. Of course, Zuna trying to restack himself at this bottom lane. At least his Flash, again, it's going to come up fairly soon with Distortion. He's at 3-item Kog'Maw right now, but he's up against 3-item Ezreal. He's also got himself Furor boots with a lot of kiting. Let's recap the rest of the items, though. These guys are getting into late game builds. Who's got the cool items here?
Well, I have to say, Ezreal also getting a decent amount of HP because the Training Force adds some. He also picked up a Giant's Belt, and he's already slippery with that Arcane Shift that he's not going to have to worry too much. So that frees up their front line into diving this Kog'Maw. Because Ezreal built the defensively like that, he kind of gives the edge to his front line.
Alrighty, we're going to see how those front lines can pan out. Of course, Zhonya's being scattered across both teams here, really trying to use them to keep the mages alive. Brunch U, I mean, he is having an awesome game, right? You mentioned all his great items. He's 8-2 and 7. Really the most standout score I can see on the board right here. So a lot of props to him for keeping his team alive. They're down 4 kills. but he's been in 15 of his team's 16 kills.
Yeah, and it's really going to be a lot on those cocoons from Psycho Sid. They need to stack up the stuns because they have the Muffin QT knockup and the mandatory cloud stun, but they are going to have to land that other skill shot for the third one there to be able to land these kills. They don't have many other ways of holding people in place for Kog'Maw to be able to do damage. They have to have the Kog'Maw free and auto attacking from the back line to finish this one.
All right, well, we can see if they get enough damage for that. Once again, these teams are grouping up in the mid lane, and you mentioned it a while ago, the split push from Shen, so valuable, and you're seeing it here. Nick Wu down to the bottom lane once again. He is on fire, both literally and figuratively. He's doing a great job with himself, a lot of health on his items, the wit's end as well for attack speed, and he's just causing the team to come down and stop him over and over and over again.
He's a lot more flashy on his Zed play, and he wins his lane really hard with Zed play, but his end game with Shen it seems to be a lot stronger. I mean, even sometimes when he gets ahead with Zed, they still end up losing those games. When he's Shen, they always have this in their back pocket. He just calmly split pushes the bottom, and like we saw before, joined that fight at Baron. Though they did lose out on that Smite Wars, they came out ahead and killed.
Oh, Psycho Sid going for a flank on a Nick Wu. Is it going to be enough damage? The Q goes off. It's a slow. He puts in the volatile Spiderling, goes into melee for him. Ooh, the ult coming in. Beam me up, Scotty, because here comes the teleport, and Zuna's going to make that a 1 versus 3. Nick Wu's got nowhere to go. Shutdown coming in for Mandatory Cloud.
Just talked about his great late game there, split pushing. When you're split pushing like that, you still have to ward deep into the jungle because you can get caught out. I mean, especially Hot Side, I have to say, he's been given so much flack for getting caught out like that, but it happens to a lot of people. Like we just saw having to sit here too. It's kind of hard. You have to buy a lot of wards and bring them with you. And since Elise built that Leandry, she has a great percentage damage. She can deal with this very high health Shen quite easily.
Exactly. With those wards and items, it's really given Vulcan a death grip sort of on this map right here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. Got him going. And yeah, Vulcan +5 in kills here, still plus 6,000 gold as well. Right, these guys are trading back and forth, but there is a very real advantage here onto this Vulcan team. Smithy just, stealing away the minor buffs, or the minor lizards there at the Golem camp. They're going to recall back. Baron's in only 2 minutes. That's going to be probably the next standoff here.
Interesting that Muffin QT's gone with the Zeke's Herald just to get that third aura for his team for stronger team fights. Even though it's not, they don't have like an extra AD heavy team. I mean, Psycho Sid won't benefit too much from that. A little bit. The extra is decent for Mandatory Cloud, but mostly it's for Smithy and Zuna. They really want to get that Kog'Maw as much help as he can get.
Well, exactly, because you've seen those assassins come in, and Zeke's came in at the same time that Zuna built his own Vampiric Scepter.
Yeah, so he just got a huge amount of sustain. They initiate from the TF.
All right, they're going to go on to Lattimortis. A lot of damage there. Teleport coming in from Chuper as well. Where it's going to be. Lattimortis tanks it through. He can no longer die first anymore. He's going to go right in onto this team. Lattimortis taking a bunch of pain, and Smithy just really wants to get him first. MAA tanks it out, flashes away. ManCloud says, nope, you're still going to die. The magic burst, gigantic. Nick Wu goes back in onto Zuna, but he is alone for that one. Elise pops up in the air. Another kill coming down. There it is. Brunch Yu getting targeted by Psycho Sid. He's alone, one-on-one. Where's the damage going to be? Misses the cocoon, but Mandatory Cloud flashes in. Triple kill for him. Nick Wu now alone, running away, but the team doesn't care. Vulcan, they are 5-on-1 on the map, and they've got control over the base.
Zuna was actually fine in that fight, and Muffin QT was headbutting people away from Smithy, who had just seen blood, and he went in there over and over, tanked up so much damage that he had to headbutt Nick Wu out of the fight. Nick Wu goes to the back. He's the last man standing. It does not look good for these Nexus turrets.
No, it's a pretty happy place for them right now. Vulcan going in for their second. Still the death timers waiting around for the team to go back up. It's a desperation save here from Nick Wu. He's drawing the team back, actually, but the turret goes down. Will they will not go for the Nexus, actually. The heroics there actually keep their base alive. Yeah, home guard rocket boots. Smithy getting a little bit caught out there trying to fight Nick Wu, but Complexity's base is alive here.
They pull it safe. Vulcan don't want to throw this one away. They know they have a huge advantage after going so deep into the base, and they need to go back and spend all that money that they just earned. The home guard boots are a really nice addition. I have to say, it makes this exact situation possible.
It is a fitting name. They have guarded their home with the home guard. I don't even know. That's not even a funny joke. Complexity gonna make the way.
Literally, that's just the name of it.
That's literally what it does. Good job, Freak. You can read. Mandatory Cloud going back up to his blue buff right here. He's got one of his own from the kill he got earlier in that prior fight. But actually the team, Complexity, yes, they're going for a comeback Baron. Can they get it? The wild cards, they hit Nick Wu pretty hard. His team not ready yet to stop this one. Is it going to be enough? MIA dropped dangerously low. He's got to be a bit careful here. The Baron now down below at 3rd health. ManCloud really goes in. What can he find? Not quite a kill just yet. Oh, he gets smited away. Xmithy picks it up, and here comes the counterattack team fight. 1, 2, 3 kills picked up. That is not a good place to be if you are Complexity. Vulcan will go for the kill.
Smithy with another smite steal, or I guess the first one wasn't a steal, but we see the Power Ranger cameras down there for both teams, so you know what that means. They're looking for the Nexus.
There we go, man. Vulcan just moving themselves on forward. Just minions separate themselves from the Nexus, and here we go. War's getting dropped down by Muffin Cutie. The Nexus, it's going to go down. Vulcan looking for their 4th win of the LCS, and that's going to be theirs. They've gotten it.
GG Vulcan. They went 3-0, and it looks like they still got it.
They do. They have still got it. It's a great win right them. And in true Vulcan fashion, refusing to show emotion.
They showed a little bit there. I guess
all business.
I didn't hear Zuna much that whole game, actually.
Yeah.
He wasn't
stoic today.
Yeah. I guess the first 2 games kind of set them back. They were super happy after the 3-0 last week, then starting off a little bit slower. 0-2 here, they actually are able to pick up 1 win, so it's not all bad news. Psycho Sid getting a little extra happy down there, and Lauda Morris just does not look like a happy camper.
And it's hugs for these guys. I think this is one of the first teams I've seen give post-game hugs, not just handshakes.
Yeah.
I'm a fan, actually.
We said they were really close, these 2 teams. They practice a lot against each other, and they feel like they're friends, too, outside the game as well.
Yeah, and that's Vulcan coming out 2-0 so far against them in series. This game, of course, much closer than the last one. I don't think Complexity were looking forward to a shutout, and they did not. They gave them a run for their money. And again, this is a team that took down CLG. This is a team that made an amazing run last week. Couple of falters here, but Complexity can't feel too bad about that loss.
Yeah, they played it pretty well. I mean, they made a really good run for it. They looked strong in that mid game. Nick Wu was split pushing really well until that last one where he finally got caught. And from that point, the game kind of just slipped away through their fingers.
Yeah, there were a couple of glimmers of hope from those guys. I mean, they had a really good initiation comp where they really tried to dive in, deal a whole bunch of damage. This split push, like Baron counterattack, it's like they gave up Baron, but they got turret, half a turret, and +1 kill and Dragon. Like, you saw moments of greatness from those guys. They nearly pulled that one back.
Lauda Mortis getting behind that early because I guess it all goes back to that first smite on the blue buff there. He never got rolling. He never was able to build HP to play how he wanted to play. You could see he wanted to be that initiator. He wanted to be in there in the melee, CCing people, but he just didn't have the health to back it up.
And a lot of that was because it felt like their team was relying on that armor synergy, right? That Terex Jarvan we see so often, and we saw it from Dignitas. We saw it in this game. They just went, all right, magic damage it is. Right, and Locket of Iron Solari, that's an armor item, right? Like, there was not a lot of magic resist really on that team, and it kind of seemed to show there.
Yeah, it definitely showed.
All right, well, coming up, guys, we're going to speak to Mandatory Cloud from Vulcan. And then Good Game University takes on Dignitas. Stick around, we got more action.